Hey everybody, it's Michael Angelo Caruso. I'm here with Eddie Murray. He's a Detroit sports legend. Hi, Eddie.
Hi, how you doing, Michael?
It's great to connect with you. I grew up with you, man. I'm sure you hear that from everybody that, Detroit Lions
The
football.
older I get, I hear it a lot, yes.
You may hear it more than you care to.
It's just nice to be remembered.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about your days as a Detroit Lion and also your new life. Uh,
hmm Yeah,
it's interesting, when people retire from professional sports, if they're not in the broadcasting booth, we sometimes lose track of people. What do they do for the next
sure.
30 or 40 years of their life? You're currently involved as an ambassador for something called Hope Network. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. It'd be my pleasure. I was introduced to Hope Network about 10 years ago. I'm an avid golfer and I love supporting charity events. So the usual Monday golf outings, there's charity golf outings around, and I happened to participate in one that was a fundraiser for Hope Network here locally. Of course, enjoyed the day. Got to meet some of the principals at Hope Network, primarily Phil Weaver, who is the CEO of Hope Network, and had a very nice conversation with him. And the following year, the event came up again, so I got invited to go. I remembered I had a good time. It was a good cause, so I attended the event again, met up with Phil, and he asked if I would be interested in having lunch with him. That week, later in the week, which I did. And at that meeting, he asked if I had ever sat on a board before. And I said, well, at that time, I was on the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame board because I'd been inducted into it previously. And I was approached by the principals to help be an ambassador and talk about the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. And I said, but really, we don't really. It didn't seem too intensive. What do you need me to do with Hope Network? And so he basically said, like you said, I need you to be an ambassador. We are growing our services, and Southeast Michigan is kind of like the last area because they're primarily a Western nonprofit organization. So I agreed, and that's how I got involved with Hope Network. I started to sit on their board.
Well, I'm just learning about this organization. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was. Apparently
Yes.
they help, and I don't know if this number is current, 30,000 people in Michigan?
Yeah, we service at least 30, maybe 35,000 mental health individuals, whether it is from birth or it could be from a stroke or a catastrophic car injury, where there is some kind of closed head injury. And we help them go through rehab or other services to get them back to as independent of a life as we could possibly give them. As we all know, normal is a word people throw out. What is normal to people? But we try to get them to their best recovery after the incident that they have, and really the best life that they could possibly have.
And it's not just mental health. It's, I guess autism is related to mental health. Child literacy, opioid abuse, brain rehabilitation, and also workforce development. I imagine you're placing people back into
That
the
is correct.
world?
Yes, that is correct. So what we have that's actually one of our really strong advocacies that we have is with individuals that are coming out of hospital or institutional settings, and they're getting back to the point where they're having some independence. Now, what we do is we have a workforce development where we help people get some training, and if they fall into the point where they are doing well with their training and they are in a position that they could be hired, we then find jobs for them rather than, for lack of better words, kind of like throwing them out and letting them go through the weeds and try to figure out how to do it. And there's usually a lot of pushback and frustration for them. We cut all that down by going through some training, help them with some of those issues that they may have at the beginning. It could be just something as simple as they have to fill out their time card and they become frustrated with it because they're not quite sure what it is. So it doesn't need to be something really extensive. It could be something that is to us menial and it should be easy to understand, but for them, it's a big task and they need to learn these types of skills.
Yeah, well, you're doing hero work and you're hitting all the hot buttons. Autism is a huge issue today.
Yes.
Opioid use. I just read recently that the word opioid is still not recognized by Microsoft Word and Facebook. If you type it into Facebook, it underlines it like the word doesn't exist.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's such a hot. I mean, look what's happening just with President Trump. I mean, he's been a big advocate for trying to get opiate abuse under control, and I know for us, it's a real hot topic. It just seems like there's more and more incidents out there of people having a lot of issues with it, and it's something for us that is. We kind of dipped our toe into it because we really weren't, quote unquote, like a drug rehab facility, although we have just recently acquired a drug rehab facility up in the Grand Rapids area that have 4 locations. And the approach that we are taking to drug abuse is more of a medical approach to it. The old platform for it was you go through your 30 days, 60 days, you talk about your issues, you admit that you have an issue, and you talk about the mental side of things, but no one addresses the actual physical part, like what medically you need. And there is a lot of research that there is other medications that can help you with the transfer that you're going to be having from being under the grips of addiction of whatever you are at that time. And this way there's more of a follow-up rather than they go through 30 days, they go back out into general life, and what ends up happening, they hang around the same people, they do the same habits, they get and they go right back into that merry-go-round of just constantly getting back into the bad habits.
Yeah, recidivism is a huge issue. I think if you don't have the complete support system,
Correct.
You're not going to have as many success stories to tell later on. Eddie, we are so delighted you're going to be speaking on December 4th to Troy Rotary and guests. This event will be held at Tryon Solutions, one of our mutual friends in the community.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is located, everybody, at 888 West Big Beaver Road in Troy. I'll put all of the who, what, where down in the comments section of the video for people to sign up. And a similar program that day. We'll talk about Hope Network. We'll also talk a bit about the Lions. I wanted to talk about your background and how you got to be where you are today. It's really an amazing story. I read, and I don't know if this is true, that you didn't play football until you were in college. Is that true?
Pretty close. I actually didn't start playing football until I was, I'm trying to think, maybe between 16 and 17 years old. So I originally was born Canadian. I was born in Halifax, Nova Scotia. My father was a career naval officer, but he was English. So at that time, they were still part of the Commonwealth. And so he served during World War II and the Korean War, and after 25 years, he retired. And so he moved the family to England. So when I was 4, my brother and sister and I and mom and dad, we moved to Portsmouth, England. Portsmouth was the naval base for the British Navy. That's where D-Day started from. They all formed there and went over for D-Day at Portsmouth. So my father always loved being around the ocean, loved being around naval areas. And so that's where we moved. So I lived in England for 10 years. Till I actually left England on my 15th birthday. Unfortunately, my father passed away when I was 14, and my mother, during her time of grief, wanted to be closer to her relatives who were Canadian. And so we moved back to Victoria, British Columbia. So Halifax, Nova Scotia is the East Coast Naval Base for the Canadian Navy, and Victoria, British Columbia is the West Coast Naval Base. That's where my brother and sister were born. So that's what I did. I moved when I was 15, enrolled in school. Of course, my upbringing was soccer, rugby, cricket. They played soccer and rugby there. And so I went into school sports and and off of it, people said, hey, you got a pretty strong leg, you like to play sports. Why didn't you come out and play football? So it was about like when I was 16 or so, I started playing, and then 19, I'm in college, so it was pretty quick.
And didn't you have an unusual kicking style? They called it soccer style. Is that because you grew up playing soccer?
Yeah, I mean, at that time, I'm trying to think in the mid 70s. I mean, soccer style kicking in football. There were players, and I mean, I think Ed Gogolak was the very first soccer style kicker, and then of course the Upremian came along, and Jan Stenerud came along, and then the advent of the soccer style type of kicker became a little bit more prevalent compared to the old straight-on kickers, the Lou Grosers and Mark Mosleys of the world, that Don Krokhoffs that had great careers. So yeah, I like I said, it was a very quick thing for me. I had more of a passion for soccer at that time, and so to me, I don't want to say it was easy, but I kept thinking, well, you really want to give me a scholarship just to kick this ball through the uprights. That's really what you want to do, and it worked out. But yeah, I was very fortunate, very blessed, and it was a great time to go to Tulane University at that time, and had a great experience there.
So we're already off to a great start. You get a late start to football. You're not kicking the ball the way most people were kicking it at the time. You get a scholarship to do it.
Yes.
Full ride?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. And
I mean, I'll try to make it as short. It's actually, but most people have, if they're lucky to have like one fork in the road in their life where they make the right choice or something really positive happens. And for me, that was it, because at the time when I graduated from high school, I did not go to college. I wasn't from a family of wealth. So I went to work, and I was working at a lumber yard. A friend of mine's father owned a lumber yard, and I was driving a forklift and putting construction orders together and helping people pick out what they needed and do all that kind of just lumberyard work kind of stuff. And then unfortunately at the time, my mother was dying of cancer. She died shortly. So during this time of being out of school, working, my mother takes a turn with her health, and so I'm trying to take care of her. So my life was, get up and jump on the bus and go to work and come home and go to the hospital, it was just evolved. It was a very small world. I was in kind of a small world, and I had this opportunity where some film of me kicking at a camp that I went to for the British Columbia Lions, the Canadian football team. They had like a development camp to look for kids to help them get scholarships. And of all things, a coach who had just signed as an assistant coach at Tulane University, a gentleman called Willard Wells, saw this film and said, hey, where's this kid? Is he still around? How can I get a hold of him? And he reached out to the head coach, Cal Murphy of the BC Lions at the time, and said, yeah, he's just out there, give him a call. And that was the fork in the road. And then I got recruited. There's no Google back in '76, right? It's not like I can Google Tulane University. I had no idea where Tulane, let alone Louisiana. I mean, I had no idea.
You went up on the continent to the bottom.
Exactly. I mean, anything below the 49th parallel, I really didn't know too much at that time. I was just on my little island on Vancouver Island and living in Victoria.
Yeah.
So,
but your world opened up.
I'm sorry?
Your world opened up.
It sure did, in a lot of real positive ways. I mean, I was going through some hard time, and like I mentioned, I had signed with Tulane, and then about a month or so afterwards, my mother passed away from cancer, and then I went to Tulane a month later, and so I had some rough times, but I had a really close family of mine there that kind of took me under the wing. The Peterson family, they were very involved with the university, and they had a very close-knit Norwegian family. And Tulane was very acute of some of the issues I was going through, and that they picked a perfect family to kind of help me go through the issues that I was going through at that time.
You know, it's interesting to hear you talk about the fork in the road and the fact that the average person only sees that fork maybe 2 or 3 times in their life.
Sure. Yeah.
And your role as ambassador for Hope Network, you're creating a fork in the road for people that might otherwise not have one.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate to work for Hope Network, but also I know for my job as an ambassador is to talk more, and this is what's going to be good for me come around in November when we have our meeting at Tryon, is a lot of people, especially in Southeast Michigan and in the Tri-County area, they don't even know what Hope Network does or what we are.
Yeah.
And that's bad on our part. But we have recognized the fact that a lot of people don't realize the services and the things that we do. But in the Tri-County area, we have pretty close to 500 employees, and we do about $30 million worth of services in the Tri-County area. So if you look at that as a nonprofit in the Tri-County area, it's maybe the biggest in the Tri-County area, and a lot of people don't realize this. So, and again, that comes over to us and myself. I have a new boss. His name's Steve Reagan, and he's been very influential. He was originally at Southwest Solutions here in downtown Detroit, which does similar work that Hope Network does, but they do them primarily for veterans.
Yeah.
He also worked with Focus Hope. And I know in the short period of time that he has been the executive vice president for Hope Network, I have learned so much from him just with interacting with foundations and interacting with philanthropic individuals and corporations that I'm sure people will start to hear a little bit more about what Hope Network does in the Tri-County area.
Well, we're going to get the word out about the Hope Network. We're going to get the word out about December 4th and this luncheon that people can attend. It's fabulous. Back to football for just a second. You did some pretty cool things. I'm not the biggest football fan in the world, so I hope I have these right. You at least for 1 year, maybe 2 years with the Detroit Lions, were the highest scorer on the team. Is that true?
Yeah, there were a few years that I led the team in scoring.
The kicker.
Yeah, I mean it's not a good thing. That means I'm kicking more field goals and we're not scoring enough touchdowns. So in my tenure with Detroit, you know what, we had some lean years. I think in the 12 years I played for Detroit, I think we only had 2 winning seasons. So what we struggled a little bit. You know what, we had some good players. It just, we didn't quite have the team to take us. Although my last year with Detroit, we were 12-4, and we made it to the NFC Championship game, which was a pretty special year back in 1991. But yeah, I mean it's nice personally, but as a team, it's usually not good when the kicker's scoring a lot of points.
And as an individual, you had some pretty cool goals or pretty cool achievements as well. You were named to the Pro Bowl. Was it in your rookie year?
I was, yes.
And
yeah.
You kicked 5 field goals, became the only rookie ever to receive the MVP. Is that still true?
There's now 2. When Marshall Faulk was a rookie with the Rams, he was a MVP in the Pro Bowl game his rookie year. So there's only been 2 rookies. Yes.
Well, it's an interesting balance always between teamwork and solo performance. Speaking of solo performances, you met a lot of the personalities. You played with them. You played against them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any favorite stories you'd like to tell about names of the past?
Well, I mean, like you said, I mean, it's hard to pick out one because everybody was, very special and unique. I mean, I know for myself, a lot of, I came in with the Billy Sims draft. I was in Billy's draft. Billy was very dynamic of a runner. And then the latter part of my career with Detroit, I got the opportunity to play with Barry Sanders, which, Hall of Fame, and just, arguably, one of the top 3 running backs ever to play the game. And then to play for the Dallas Cowboys and win a Super Bowl and be with all of the litany of Hall of Famers that were on that team. Emmett Smith as a running back, and just the different teams and organizations in the latter part of my career that I started to play with was, at the time, I maybe didn't appreciate it, but I know since retiring I did. I mean, to get to see other fan bases and other cities and enjoy the competition that you have in their divisions. I mostly played in the NFC East because I played for almost all of them. I played for Dallas and Philadelphia and Washington. So I played for 3 of the NFC East teams. So it was always funny for me, when I'd play for Dallas, of course we always hated Philly and we hated the Redskins. When I played for the Redskins, we hated Dallas, we hated Philly, so it was an unusual emotional approach I needed to take to these games. So.
Yeah. Has football changed much in your view?
Well, it's hard to say if it's changed for the better. The athlete has changed immensely. I know when I was a rookie in 1980, the biggest guy we had on our team was Bubba Baker, our defensive end. He was our pass rusher. Bubba was 6'6", 285, maybe up to 300 pounds, maybe one player. I think our offensive line at that time, we averaged maybe 270 pounds, maybe 275. Where you look at the teams now and how they're made up, you may have 15 guys over 300 pounds, maybe 5 over 350 on a team, whether they're offense or defensive linemen, and they all run faster than we did when we were 280 pounds, so that the athlete is bigger and faster and stronger. And for me, that's the biggest change that I see. I know collectively bargained rules have changed, that they're trying to have a lot of protection of players. Also, the amount of time guys can practice with pads on, all of those things have changed. When I went to training camp in 1980, we were there for pretty close to a month, 2 days for a month. Now they have camp for 10 days and they only practice once a day. And not all the days they're in pads. They're only allowed to be in pads at camp, I think, it's like, I don't know, 10 or 12 days. And during the season, they're only allowed to be in pads 15 times the whole year. So it's hard for teams to get football ready because you have to hit and get all that soreness out of your body. And I think that has hurt the game, in my opinion, because you find early in the year a lot of those nicks and bumps and bruises and pulls happen more because these guys don't have that football ready body. They're in great shape. They're physically great, but you need to hit each other to get ready.
I want to come back to the wear and tear in just a second when we wrap things up, but a question about the personalities in the game. I think Namath played a bit before you, correct?
He did, yes.
So Namath back in the day was pretty flashy by most standards. And guys like Cam Newton today, is this good for the game? I noticed that football really plays it down. The people kind of watching from the outside, these guys get a disproportionate amount of attention.
Again, yeah, I think that has a lot to do with social media. I mean, I know personally I'm not big in social media. I think I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram. That's about all I'm on. And 95% of it is I'm on LinkedIn because of work. So I try to utilize that. And my daughter got me to get on Instagram kind of thing just to put myself out there a little bit. But I don't know how I would have handled it if I was in the social media era because but I was a little bit more private around what I did, not only off the field, but I let my actions prove what I did on the field. I don't need to show off, or I don't need to exemplify how good or how bad or what situations are, and being negative about certain things and putting your opinion out there. I just think some of the players get a little too over the top with some of the things on social media, and I think that's hurtful sometimes.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just distracting from the essence of the sport and the beauty of
Yeah,
the sport. It's true in
right.
any sport, by the way, not just football. Social
Yeah,
media is
yeah,
just,
no, it's everywhere. I mean, it's sports all over the globe. I mean, soccer to
yeah.
all everything. There's always something going on.
So let's close with a little merging of the two topics, football and Hope Network. It's not lost on me that CTE is a big part of the football thing today. And here
Hmm.
you are now helping people with recover from mental illness, which could include CTE injuries, correct?
Yeah, it could. I mean, like I said, but we cover the whole gamut when it comes to mental health. So, like I said, it could be something from birth that you have, and these individuals are trying to navigate life and have some independence, and we try to help them get to as close of an independent life as they possibly can, as well as it could be a stroke victim, it could be catastrophic injury, it could be a workplace injury where they get hit in the head and they have a closed head injury, and we try to get them back to a, uh, a good normal life that they had prior to that. So yeah, CTE issues can be out there also that we deal with some of the individuals also.
Yeah. Well, you are doing hero work. You seem like such a nice person. I can't wait to meet you on December 4th when we all get together at the Troy Rotary Luncheon. It's a public event, of course, everybody. It's open to anybody that wants to come. And this is December 4th. It will be held at Tryon Solutions, which is on Big Beaver Road in Troy, Michigan. So come join us, 11:30 to 1:30. I put all the details in the comments down below. And look into Hope Network, everybody. Everybody likes to give back. Sometimes the hardest part of giving back, Eddie, is finding organizations that are doing good
Yep.
work that you can trust, you know.
Hmm.
And I think Hope Network has got to be at the top of that list.
Well, I'm being biased, of course, because I've been involved with them for 10 years, and you know, my first 7 sitting on the board where we were touching upon earlier, and then these past 3 years, Phil Weaver asked if I would take a full-time position with the organization, be director of donor relations for Southeast Michigan. So it was a pretty easy yes for me. So I'm very biased with what we do because I think there are a lot of great organizations out there that do very similar work to us. I just think that we are exemplary in our services. We really fill in those really hard cases. A lot of organizations have difficulty taking those because they are difficult, you know, and some of these people may not get to where they would like to get to. And so, but we take all of the really worst cases out there and do a really good job with these people. Our social worker staff, our managers, they just do an unbelievable job with making their lives as fruitful as they possibly can.
Fabulous. I was just checking the website. It's hopenetwork.org, everybody, if you want to get involved with their organization. I see 2 locations on the Michigan map, one in Pontiac and one in Grand Rapids. I know there are more, but those are the 2 main ones.
Those are the 2 main ones. Yes, we have a more of an administrative office in Pontiac. About 6 or 7 years ago, we acquired New Passages, and they were predominantly a drug rehab facility and a group home. And so we acquired the group homes and made them more into a mental health side of group homes. At this point in time, we have over 300 group homes around the state of Michigan where we place individuals that have come out of our rehab facilities to our hospital settings, or they could be coming from home situations where now the caregiver can't take care of them because they could have gotten older and now, but they still want to have some independence where they can take care of themselves. They still may be getting services or they have a job, but they need a place to live. So we place them in our group homes. And all of our group homes have medical staff, mostly administrating medications to them, so that there's 24/7 medical staff at every group home that we have. But there are 4 to 6 individuals in each home, and we got them mostly scattered around the state.
Yeah. Well, you're fantastic. I'm very impressed. Everything I heard about you is true. You're such a nice guy. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
all you do for Hope Network. Thanks for
I
being at
appreciate
the
it.
luncheon on December 4th. And go Lions.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing everybody on December 4th.
Thanks, Eddie.
Take care.